Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you guys so much for joining us today on this beautiful Tuesday. And I am joined with my co-host, Michelle. What's up?
Hey, bro. It's a sunny day today, thankfully. Haven't had some sun in a little while. It's been pretty cloudy in these shorter days, so it's nice to get that sun shining. It just brightens up everything. Makes such a difference.
Absolutely. Love to open up the blinds, and the days are so short here. Oh, I bet they're really short there, huh?
Yeah.
You're,
Yeah, they they seem like they really are. Yeah, goes by fast, but everything's going by fast. Yeah.
all right. I was just saying, I didn't think we were broadcasting there for a second. But yeah, it looks like we're good. Um, YouTube might not be getting it. I'll just have to see. I know it's sending it to it. So okay, so I got a little piece of footage I wanted to show. This is from the other morning, and I'll do this. So you might not, it might come through kind of pixely for you, but maybe you can watch it in the replay. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen anyway.
You know what? I'm going to turn my video off then for a
Perfect.
second while I
Yeah.
put this up. So hopefully you'll give me some.
Yeah, that'll be better.
All right.
Okay, so I'll share that one. And then let me. Okay, so I got this the other morning. I was at, let me see if I can pull it up top. It's not, there we go. Let me pull it up here. Okay, so I got this the other morning. I was at the airport a week and a day ago, and I was checking out the moon, and I saw this object flying across there, twinkling like a star, and it was really bright. And I actually, this line on here is from my lens being dirty, but we're looking at this flashing object right here. The other two things were the
Mm-hmm.
moon and the lens flare from the moon. It might not show up for you because it is kind
Right.
of small, but so I actually zoom in on it, and it's, you can see it's like sort of pulsating, you know, like here I zoom in right
Hmm.
here, and it's sort of
Right.
pulsating. It's moving through the sky really fast, and you know, I'm thinking it was a little bit before dawn, like a couple hours. So if it was high enough, it could have been catching sunlight, I guess. But I don't really know. I don't know what it was, but it was definitely nothing like I normally get when
Mm-hmm.
I'm recording stuff. So
Hmm.
yeah, so that was
Yeah.
that.
Well, I can see it a bit. It did come through. Yeah.
It's crazy. So stuff's
Cool.
picking up, you know.
It's exciting.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. A lot of people seeing stuff in the sky. That's for sure.
Let me see if I can pull this down out of the way now. There we go. Okay. We can see if your video works again. Am I frozen for you or anything? Or is it coming through?
See if it. No. And that's it. Yeah, the internet lately over the last week has been exceptionally bad. You're going in and out, lots of glitchy problems, and just seems to come and go. Especially, I don't know with that solar weather. We've had a lot of crazy solar weather over the last week, so I don't know if that's what's been doing it, but
So
hmm it's been pretty unpredictable.
I've been feeling pretty. There is an extra delay, so please don't think I'm talking over Michelle or she's talking over me. It's like probably 2 seconds.
Right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I've been noticing about, I want to say last Sunday, so about a week and a couple of days now, I've been sort of amped up. Like, just, I don't know. I felt a huge shift in, I had kind of felt like I was pulled back a little bit, like I needed to pull back and maybe just kind of release some stuff and get out of kind of reactionary mode and get back into more of action mode. And so that's kind of how I've been feeling, rejuvenated, ready to go out for the new chapter in life. You know what I mean? So I've been feeling really
Well, yeah,
excited.
I think you if anybody saw your recent videos and the wonderful view you've had and taking that time to just sit by the water and watch the sunrise and wow, that's going to really rejuvenate you. It's amazing what nature can do for us right now. And we really have to kind of push ourselves because those days are shorter and the weather is a little colder and can feel kind of yucky or whatever and gloomy and
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to get up and go out outside, want a motivation to do something. But when you do, it's amazing how even, that little bit or can really just simplify things for you
Absolutely.
and rejuvenate you and give you that energy. Just like the sun shining today, just that difference can be huge,
Right.
you know? Yeah.
And I say meditation a lot, but a lot of my meditation is really just daydreaming and contemplation rather than I don't really fight the thoughts. I just observe them rather than because if you're working at silencing the mind, it's kind of like you're doing something. But if I do need to, if I rather not do that and I want to actually meditate and quiet the mind, I will focus on my breathing and usually my heartbeat, and I'll align my breathing and my heartbeat, get that coherence going between them, and that's enough that I'm not really thinking about anything because I'm so focused on the breath and everything. So, but I was just saying that because I think just getting out and just daydreaming is so helpful right now. Especially if you've been cooped up. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of what we did when we were kids, wasn't it?
yeah,
Just, get outside and play in your imagination and breathe and stop worrying about everything and worrying about changing things and what you have to do or think you have to do, and just be, and just, have nice, pleasant thoughts go through your head that you enjoy thinking about. And, it's, and just breathing in the air as
oh,
simple as we can right now with everything so chaotic.
sorry, I forgot about the
Mm-hmm.
delay. John Benny just posted his 1,000th song. Wow,
Oh, wow. Way to go, John. That's awesome.
that's
That's
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know about
Yeah, you just keep.
John's music, check his. You can click. Actually, can you post your link in there, John? That way, people watching later can just click right on there, and because I don't think you can click on names anymore. I think they changed that. So I don't know. Maybe you can. I'm not sure how it works anymore. They change stuff all the time.
Yeah. They just change. I know. Just when you get used to it, you think you figured it out,
Yeah.
and they move everything around on you. Yeah, want you to reconfigure everything.
So you were
Wow.
actually talking
Well, that's
about
great for John.
the
Good for him.
the imagination. You were just getting into that, and you were talking earlier
Yeah.
about like the streams of imagination and the 0 point. Can you get into that a little bit? Because I think that was really
Oh
helpful.
my gosh. Well, I mean, it's really been such a big download over the last couple weeks because we didn't talk last week. So it's really been coming in over the last uh, week or so.
Yeah.
And it really started with, I saw the theme coming up, a lot of just different people talking about it in different ways. And these downloads about how we can get caught up and get lost in this sort of carnival funhouse hall of mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
And which in a lot of ways is kind of what this matrix is. And we go in and start getting lost in it. And as we get more lost in this sort of maze
Yeah.
of mirrors and reflections, they get more distorted and more warbled, and then before you know it, everywhere you turn you're seeing angels and demons, but they're all just warped perceptions of you. They're all just mirrors, and it plays with your mind, it plays with your imagination.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is kind of like what nightmares are. We experience these nightmares, and they're aspects of our own imagination, or our hopes and our fears, our wants and desires. And but often what really it's all about overcoming these fears. And when you don't have control of your imagination, it can really run wild. For me, it's been one of the biggest lessons that I've learned through the course of my life, because when I was young, my imagination being so afraid, like I was afraid of the dark. Because anything was possible within my mind. And once a thought slipped in there, no matter how ridiculous or absurd, I couldn't shake it. My mind would want to develop the story, right? Like, picture an 8-year-old kid having a shower, and then all of a sudden I get in my head, well, what if a snake could come out of the drain? Like something ridiculous, or I saw even a scary movie, like I'd get in the thought in my head, like having the shower curtain closed. What if there was like somebody behind the shower curtain? And it would get to the point where I'd have to open the shower curtain as a kid, and
Make
just
sure.
so I could see on the other side. Yeah, so I could make sure so I could see. And and get the floor all wet, and I'd be worried about getting in trouble and have put towels down and like all this ridiculous stuff, right? And the nightmares too, scary nightmares.
Now your
But
mom
that's where the
knows why
dreams
the
really taught me these different lessons.
now your mom knows why the
Yeah,
floor was
the
wet if she's
floor was all
listening.
wet.
And let's say happy birthday to her, by the way.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's her birthday. So
Oh yeah,
happy birthday, Ma.
tomorrow's mom's birthday. So
Yeah.
happy birthday, Ma. Yeah. So yeah, what the dreams, through progressing through these different stories and nightmares, repetitive nightmares, they taught me that it was really me. Like it was all coming from me. And when I was fearful, the dreams and the imagination would take over. So it really is, that your wild horses, your imagination can really run wild, but it's incredibly powerful. The horsepower that we have in our minds for actual manifestation ability, I think the fuel for it really comes from this imagination. Well, actually, maybe it's the more where we configure these ideas, right? The fuel is our intention, our drive. We add to it. But when we don't rein it in, when we don't control it and realize that it's all our mind, that it's all our perception, that it's all our stories, we can really get lost in this maze. So yeah, so there's been a lot of downloads about that and that process, and it just keeps expanding on that idea and understanding that we are really just
Yep, did I lose you?
like having Tauruses, and
Okay.
we really want to align our polarities. Yeah, you still there?
Yeah, I lost you for a second. But
Okay. Nice. Yeah. It's just really about aligning these polarities, aligning these, charging horses, and reining them in and controlling in the direction you want to take them. So, but realize that all the stories are yours. All the mirrors are a reflection of what's going on within you. So that's hard for people to take. So then a lot of times, but what about this? Or but what about that? But that's the way this matrix was designed, within a certain configuration, that we experience all these reflections of ourselves and how we react to ourselves, and how we react to these truths, how we react to all these different situations. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I had did like a 2D, I guess, representation of sort of that 0 point of when you imagine an infinity sign from the side, and when you're at that very center point in the now moment, rather than infinitely in the past or infinitely in the future, that's where you have this better connection with your intuition. And then you got this like Taurus visualization, which is almost like a 3D version. And so you add this other dimension to it, and not only do you have this time dimension of being in the 0 point of being in the now, but you also have this 0 point of not being swinging to the negative or the positive, to find this sort of neutral space in the middle of this Taurus. And,
That's right.
And you've got these Tauruses within Tauruses and alignments of our chakras, and then it goes out to the overall global Taurus, or how are you explaining it? Did I lose you?
No, you're still there. It was just doing that, slow you down, speed you up really fast. But I think I got the gist of it. Yeah, and that's it exactly. That it is the same thing, is that infinity symbol sort of being that Taurus and that loop, and we can go off on the extremes and polarities on the outskirts of this Taurus, right, and get lost in these loops of chasing polarities.
Yeah.
And but when you go still, so if you picture yourself as this little Taurus inside of this giant Taurus, and we're bopping around with all these other Tauruses, they're actually all aspects of our greater self, and just refracted into this experience to perceive it in a multitude of ways. But we often get lost on those streams, those polarity streams on the outskirts, and just keep recycling through that pattern. But what I was seeing through the visuals of the download is how when we harmonize our own Taurus and come to that center point, which is in that center point of the Taurus, how it's the donut shape. So you kind of have that hole in the middle. Mm-hmm. And then, the very center of that is where this conversion takes place. And I think the real alchemic process of almost like turning yourself inside out, which is kind of like what the Taurus is doing in a way. It's turning itself inside out, right? Mm-hmm. So by harmonizing with that process, harmonizing with the configuration of our matrix in the Metatron's cube, and a deeper alchemic understanding of it, and taking that knowing or knowledge mm-hmm. and feeling it within ourself as an energy of simplistic truth almost, and it puts us sort of within our own 0 point within our Taurus. And what that does is it pulls us into alignment, or the 0 point of the greater Tauruses that we are inhabiting, and allows you to sort of pop through that experience to higher levels. That's kind of how it was showing it to me, almost like there was a tube basically, up through the center of these Tauruses within Tauruses within Tauruses, that once you can align those tubes or center points of these Tauruses, that's how you can pop through. So I think having more and more of us, all these little Tauruses, and within this large Taurus, more and more of us coming to that center point, mm-hmm. instead of being all scattered and chaotic and tangled up and being pulled, siphoned through this dynamic. Here I'm doing hand gestures, and I realize now you can't see me. You guys are missing all my awesome hand gestures today. I like to wave my hands around. But yeah, so, we're, all bopping around confused in this chaotic pattern within it. But coming within this harmony, it allows this popping through to a higher expression. And in this alchemic process. So, we're doing it within ourselves, but then also as each piece comes into place, it creates more harmony, therefore pulls more other Tauruses into harmony. And it's just this magnetic process then, and it just becomes more and more harmonized. And it's kind of our way to pop through that experience, and as well the matrix's way in its current dynamic to pop through to a higher expression of experience. That's what I was seeing anyways. So.
Right. Let's see. Oh, that's a great idea, Charles. Everybody to take a nice big deep breath.
Mm-hmm.
Nice sigh of relief. Yeah, and manifestation is increasing with the energies right now. There we go.
For sure.
Hey, we got Ellen and Sandra in here. Twin Flame Divine Fire Radio.
Oh, friends. Hi guys.
What is up?
Hello.
Yep, I'm actually going to be on with them this Saturday. Coming up.
Wonderful.
Yep, and then let's see. I'm going to be on with you guys. What time is it? I think it's 5. It's 4 my time. I guess it's 5 Eastern time. But definitely want to come check us out. And I'm going to have Vanessa VA on to talk about some of her stuff that she's coming on the Love Stream Friday night.
On Friday, right?
Yep. And then, of course, Monday, 12/21, the day we all been waiting for, right, is going to be a special Power of One with Eileen. So we're going to get together that day and combine our power of intention. So a lot going on over the next week.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
that's nice here. You had that little getaway.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So any interesting dreams for you at all?
I did have a dream. What was it? It was weird too. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I wrote it down either. I don't think I had my book with me. I haven't had a
So
lot as
hard to
far as,
memory.
yeah, it's so hard.
The memory's a real mushy thing these days. I almost have to, it's, yeah, it's kind of a need to know basis of what I can tune into at that time.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, it's a meditative state almost, but it's amazing how deep I can go into it and get a profound stream of thought. But yeah, ask me in the moment anything, and I'm lucky if I know what day it is.
Yeah, plus I get
Yeah.
so many visuals during meditation, so many, I don't know, just different ways of, that's how, I don't know, I guess you can make a distinction between those higher thoughts and your own imagination at some point because you just get so much at one time. It's more of a noetic download type experience. But
Well, that's it. You get so much at one time. And it's kind of this rapid fire of I've become very familiar with the difference between, and that's the important thing with spending time with yourself and listening to yourself,
all right,
understanding the different ways that you communicate with yourself
yeah,
and understanding the difference of a download. And I mean, a download can kind of really strike you dumb.
mm-hmm,
You can just be sitting there minding your own business, and then whammo, and it's just this rapid fire slideshow.
yeah,
See this, that goes with that, and also the metaphors that it used. So the metaphors come in. I find the information comes in all in one like packet, right?
yeah,
And it's often they'll use metaphors to do it. So it's that quick grouping of information and connections that's presented to you in these visual metaphors. And I really think that's that higher communication, as opposed to sort of running through this imaginary sequence in your head or making a story. Like you can start to feel the difference. I do think, but it really takes that time of spending time with yourself and listening to the different ways you talk to yourself.
mm-hmm. Alan and
Mm-hmm.
Sandra is bringing up people exiting their physical bodies right now. Have you heard anything about that? Because remember, it was a few months, but gosh, it was probably beginning of the year where a lot of people were experiencing the vibrating and sleep paralysis, and some of them going
Mm-hmm.
out of body for their first time. I got at least, I don't know, 3 or 4 people talked about that. So I do know it was happening earlier on. I haven't really heard much about it though.
I have had an interesting sensation of like a slippage, just being lying there minding my own business, and it happened last night even. And I do still definitely feel the vibration. Like I wake up, and this vibrates. All of this here. Sometimes I can even feel it in my teeth, but I'll feel it. It's most especially in my forehead. Sometimes feels like a sensation behind my eyeballs.
Mm-hmm.
Vibrates sometimes, like I almost feel it to like the tip of my nose, and then the connections through the teeth. And it takes about 20 minutes or so for it to settle down and subside, but it'll actually like static my vision a little bit too. Like it can actually appear that way. But the shaking too, mom had it the other day where she thought I had the wash machine on the spin cycle. I was like, I know I wasn't doing laundry, because she had that shake thing. But I felt it yesterday, like a movement, like a slip. It was really weird. It was like my vision or perspective, even though my physical body didn't move,
Mm-hmm.
it felt like I moved. It felt like I slipped over outside of myself for a second,
Well, around
and then
what
just
time was that?
flip back in.
Was it early in the day or was it?
I'm not really sure. After midnight,
That was last night.
I was just watching something on TV. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because, during Mr. MBB 333 YouTube channel put out a video talking about during the eclipse yesterday, there was this, I guess, some kind of shock wave that hit South America where actual earthquake happened and the solar eclipse happened and something else. What was it?
Hmm.
I can't remember what the fourth thing was, but oh, the radio blackout was associated with
Reader,
the
yeah,
yeah. So all of
yeah,
that happened like within that I guess like a 20-minute period of the middle of the eclipse. So that was pretty interesting that so much happened with that. And I don't
yes,
know what that impact wave was, but it's interesting. I think he put it out
yeah.
yesterday, so it's one of his newer videos. You guys, you should check it out.
Or how it would impact us energy wise, a shockwave.
Yeah,
It's gotta ripple through. So, um, yeah, it was weird. It was a weird sensation. It kind of went in and out.
yeah,
It's just like if you slip to the side and my perspective or even my vision moved, but it didn't.
right.
Really
But it
weird.
felt like it was localized to you, not everything, not the world,
No,
so to
it just
speak.
felt like me.
Yeah.
Like I slipped to the side and then came back and then popped back in. But my physical body didn't move.
Wow. That's
But
interesting. That's sort of
it
like what they're
felt
talking
like
about.
my presence.
Yeah.
It felt like my presence like slipped over, like
Yeah.
over slightly, and then came back in.
Hmm.
So it was really weird. And I had that little bit of that feeling too,
Right.
but it wasn't so much physical. It was very odd. Hmm.
Oh yeah, they're saying
But
a
I
sun
also
diving
had
comet. A sun diving comet was the other thing that happened. I forgot about. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, he caught that on.
oh wow,
Yeah. So much happened in that moment.
wow.
So all of that shifting going on, and then you had that last night. It could be energetic or something, right? Or induced.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because it weird things like that happen. It could be sitting there, and I have the ringing all the time, but sometimes it'll just kick in out of nowhere, and or I'll get the pressure in the crown. I mentioned this to you, I think last week when we chatted, but we didn't do the show. But normally I get that spike right here.
Mm-hmm.
The pick comes in and sends off all kinds of currents. But I had a really unusual sensation last week where it came in on the right side, a little further up, not quite as far back as this one, but about right here,
Mm-hmm.
told exactly where it was. And it was cold, like ice cold. And it came in, same thing, like a pick or a pole or a line of energy just came in. And it was a very strange sensation.
It was painful, like the ice pick feeling, but it was also.
It was it was
Was it shocking?
not painful, but not comfortable. Like I don't really like it when anybody tries to put their finger in my belly button. It's not painful,
Right.
but I don't, is the sensation comfortable? Not particularly. Like, I'm sitting there going like this.
Right.
And yeah, really affecting the optical. I could feel all this cold going through different connections. So it's like came in like a spike and then sort of distributed out. And it was unusual because of especially this cold sensation and how strong it was. And because it was in a different location than where I usually get that come in. There's two. There's I'll get that ice picky thing right back here on the left side. When I get the energy coming in the crown, it's directly in the center. It's like a perfect circle. I can feel the pressure there, but most often it's more this circle right around here
Mm-hmm.
that is like
The
there's
pressure?
a magnet placed on
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Oh yeah. It feels magnetic.
Yeah.
And it's very strong. Like even over the course of this year, how strong it is compared to this is a sensation that when we started, I didn't even have.
Right.
And considering how powerful it is, it's so strong right now. I feel like I could sometimes like pull a magnet to my forehead from across the room. You know what I mean?
Shoot a laser beam out of it or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. It's a noticeable sensation for sure. And any focus of intention or meditation, will kick it in. But and then sometimes it just comes in on its own. But the pressure is really noticeable when you get in these different areas, especially when it comes in the crown and all this starts tingling. And yeah, and then your head starts changing shape.
Start getting these Mandela effect ridges in our head. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you got ridges on your skull you didn't have before. And so just keeps going. I whether it'll be some point where it's just always just a gradual experience and drop in the bucket, or whether there'll be a tip point, a tip over point, individually, collectively, who knows. I'm curious to see how it's going to play out, but play out it will continue to do. So one thing we can always be sure of is change. So I think it's no way to predict exactly how, when, and all of it will unfold. But I think that's just part of it, right? It's why we wrap Christmas presents.
Exactly.
So
We want to see so
yeah,
badly, but it's a surprise,
I
you
know.
guys. It's a good one too.
Yeah,
Trust me. I know. I can
yeah,
feel
yeah.
it. I've shaken the
That's what I
box.
was getting.
I've
I
shaken
was
the
getting
box. I
about
can tell it's
Christmas.
good. You know.
Yeah. And you don't want to unwrap the presents before Christmas. That's just part of the whole fun. So I had another interesting, I had a very, very clear message I mentioned to you before the show in a dream just the other morning, yesterday morning. And it was one of those neat situations where it was like a sentence being repeated and clarified to me over and over.
Hmm.
So it was like really making a point of me hearing this and repeating it back to them, repeating it back to me, repeating it back to them over and over, coming out of sleep. And what it was what we go. You have yet to complete your true purpose for being here. And it wasn't in the sense that I had failed. It was just like it was like, if you think everything that's happened up to this point was like about your purpose, you haven't even experienced your purpose yet.
Right.
Like um
That's huge.
like that being fulfilled, it's about to be fulfilled. So it wasn't a message by any means of like, oh, you failed or you haven't done. It was like, hey, you don't get it. Like, you have even yet to fulfill this role that is being set aside for you for the whole purpose of coming here. So we'll see. But it was just one of those things. I think it's interesting when you have something like repeated to you over and over in a dream. And I find myself in the dream repeating it back to them, clarifying, making sure I understand, and then bringing it out. So that was pretty neat. But a lot of it has been sort of back to the, I don't, it's not a drawing board, but it's back into explanations, like like training, where they're showing me different scenarios, different characters, different archetypes, and different situations,
Hmm.
like different stages. And um there, one thing was interesting. It was like they were showing me different people, and they were equating it to like three stages of like ice, liquid, water, and steam, and sort of trying to explain this alchemy process to me,
Right.
and in the different levels of humanity through ascension. And so specific, when I come out, it's just so many images, like really quickly. But I was able to bring back that one thing clearly about these like three stages of like, frozen and liquid and steam, and how we're all kind of going through this process.
Hmm.
Um, so it's been like a lot of instructional stuff, like especially with that dream, like because they were talking to me, like I found that was going along a lot through the dreams lately. Um, of this instructional of looking at different characters and archetypes and reharmonizing them and understanding the process they have in the whole greater picture. Everybody has their place. Everybody has a role that they're playing out in the story that's equally as important in the unique way that they're playing it out. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I had an interesting comment. Cognitive resonance says, I have definitely not experienced my purpose yet. Still not sure what that is.
Yeah. Well, I ask those questions too, right? And what is it exactly do you want me to do in this configuration of a matrix? And because I don't really want to be doing things the way they've been done before.
Right.
Are you serving that purpose? And we all are, without a question, whether we realize it or not. We're serving that purpose. It doesn't matter if we don't know that we are. But I think we really all want to know the answer to that question. Mm-hmm. So, and that is the sense that I got from that statement in the dream, is that's kind of the main sense of it, is that you will know the answer to that question.
All right.
Like, we know you're not sure about that. We're wondering whether or not this has been your purpose, what you have done. And we're telling, trust me, you'll know. It was kind of like that thing. So I would pass that on to everybody. I think that's in a lot of ways true for us all.
But how
with
important,
the changes that are happening.
How important are the small things, like it was shown to me, that little image of being like on this park bench, and you have the little bird that's not getting any seed because he's a little slower than the other ones. So you can kind of throw seeds over there to get the fast birds to go over there. And then you can throw seeds right at the slow bird and he gets some. And you can sort of be clever in your day-to-day small things, whether it's complimenting someone's necklace or whatever. It's like, it was shown to me how those small things are so important,
Huge.
Yeah, because in that moment, it was shown to me like, somebody's like in their thoughts as a teller or whatever, checking you out, checking your items out, not like checking out, but like checking your items out. And, you kind of snap them out of it with a little compliment, and you bring them back to that moment, and you make them feel good in that moment that you noticed it. And that little thing could have such a huge ripple, you know what I mean? Like a butterfly effect, they say.
It's big what you're saying there, though, Shane, because what you said was notice other people, not in judgment, which is what we want to do. To note, in order to notice somebody, they've likely ticked us off. Well, more noticing people, because we look for something to appreciate about them, and then we stop thinking about ourselves and our own stories and our own agenda and what we want to tell other people.
Yeah, and then spice up somebody's day, with a little compliment. It's kind of choppy a little bit. We'll try to cut your video if you want and see if it helps a little bit, if you can hear me. There we go.
Oh, there. I turned the camera off.
Okay.
Did you get me?
It's better now. But yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah, it just cut off the last 10 seconds or so I missed that part. But
yeah, but that's it. It's about getting outside of your own stories and your own judgments and all of that, what you have to say and what you want to do, and just taking the time to actually notice what you can appreciate about other people. And because right now, especially, Shane, I think that's really important. There's so much judgment because everybody's looking at on what we don't agree with. Everybody wants to jump in with their opinion to say how they, disagree. And people aren't noticing like the little nice things anymore. We're all so distracted with these big stories, right? And these big political views that are putting us on, one side or the other. Is it a mask or no mask? Is it a, are you on the right or are you on the left? Are you for or are you against? Whose side are you on? That seems to be what only anybody wants to know these days. And
Oh, I've lost you again. But yeah, it's like the dualities on steroids. That's what I was feeling.
So
sorry.
Yeah. So it's okay, buddy. So yeah, it would be great to just get simple again and notice the small things, not about whether or not they're wearing a mask or what their political opinion is
Mm-hmm.
or whether or not they're going to get a vaccine or who, you know, all these, but just simple things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's. I think a lot of that, like was shown to me, is you can get so caught up in all of that that you're missing all of the beautiful stuff going on too. Which is
Mm-hmm.
easy to do because you want to pay
Mm-hmm.
attention. You want to see. You want to find the good in that. You want to see good developments in what you want to look at. But sometimes you just need to go where the pleasantries are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I really liked your story about the bench with the birds too, because like you said, you know, with the little scrawny bird there, listen, you know, whether you're there or you're not there, he's going to eat or not eat. Like there's only, you know, you could spend 23 hours a day looking out for that little bird. The 1 hour you leave him, something terrible happens. Like some things are beyond our control.
Right. So it's like whatever you can do in the now moment.
Analogy,
Yeah.
because in the moment that you're sitting at that bench is when you take the time and the care. It's not all the planning beforehand, like and all the worrying about, well, what if I'm not here tomorrow? Well, you deal with tomorrow when you're at tomorrow,
Yeah.
right? You know, all that sort of pre-planning. You just look at the situation as you're sitting there at the bench. You look at what's in front of you. You notice who's around you, and you ask yourself, "Hey, can I make anybody's life a little bit better today?"
Mm-hmm.
In a simple way. It doesn't have to be huge,
Yeah.
but just take the time to notice.
Yeah. Finding the divinity in each and every moment, which is
Yeah,
the eternal moment of now.
which is so simple. And it's those simple gestures. You know what I liked? This one article I'd read at one time. It talked about um, kind of taking notes from somebody's personality based on whether or not they would take the time to put a grocery cart back. A simple thing like that, right? I just thought it was interesting because, you know, here at some of the stores up here in Canada, I don't know if you guys have this, but I think there was such a problem with grocery carts getting stolen and going missing or whatever. They decided to have to start putting a quarter in the cart or a loonie or whatever it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just always made a habit, like, I don't take the quarter. I find a little old lady and I give her my card. I know it's stupid and I know it's only a quarter and it doesn't matter, but I purposely will go find somebody to give that cart to as opposed to
Sticking it back in there and getting your quarter back. Yeah, our
just
Aldi's
walk
is like
away.
that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I know it's just silly and I know it's just a little thing, but I really do think it's those little habits, those noticing that, you know, well, I can just dump I'm done with my groceries, so I've put them in the trunk. So I'll just leave this cart here in the middle of the parking lot so somebody else has a hard time parking or
All right.
whatever it is, or it bangs into somebody else's car, you
Yeah.
know, or do I, you know, take the time to look for somebody who needs a cart and actually hand it to them
All right. Or on your way
in
in, find
person.
somebody finishing putting their stuff in and take it from them, and give them their quarter or whatever.
Yeah,
Save
exactly.
them a trip.
Exactly, or do that.
All
You
right.
know, and I know it's little, it's a little example, but it's just kind of a philosophy
All right.
of how we can face everything.
Yeah. That and the smile, that goes a long way. It really does. It is those little things that, because how many days have you
All
had
right,
that
I'm still here.
where it seems like everybody's sort of
Told you the internet
annoyed?
was sketchy.
Yeah. But those days where everybody seems like they're sort of annoyed and you're like, what's going on today? Everybody seems like they're sort of agitated or whatever. You just kind of, but I don't know. Those are the days to shine even brighter,
You
right?
still there?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm going to kill my camera for you. See if that,
Yeah.
okay. How's that work?
Oh, okay.
Is that better?
Yeah, better.
Okay.
Oh, way better.
All right. Awesome.
So no picture for either one of us, but
All right.
that's okay. Yeah, you're clear now.
Awesome.
Sorry, guys. Yeah. So I know a smile goes a long way, and so does a hug. So it's really sad that, you know,
All of this is going
we're
on with,
getting separated.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no hugs anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. But it does add to that feeling of separation that everybody has from everybody else and all these opinions. But it's okay. It's a part of the process of change.
Well, just so everybody knows, I'm still available for hugs. So You see me out.
Yeah.
Probably won't have a mask on, but if you want to hug and take a chance,
Yeah, exactly. If you want to risk it.
you want to risk it.
It was funny today. I had a call to make for like a service thing, just with the bank, and he asked me, he's like, "Oh, so how's the corona, out this way?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, the flu?" I was like, "Come on, stop it with your silliness." And he just started laughing. It's funny, but we'll see. It's all playing out.
Yeah.
It'll all be okay. It'll all be okay in the end. So
Yeah. It's interesting to watch, though.
it really is, Shane. It really is. And realizing this is all just stories within stories, and kind of taking this observer role, and finding that balance within yourself with polarities, and being able to observe what's playing out right now is a pretty amazing thing.
Absolutely.
So I think, as chaotic as it is right now and as difficult it is, we're also really blessed to be here, at a moment to experience so much change.
It really is an
So
exciting time. That's why it's like I spent so much time in the past like not enjoying the moment. Like, when I was in the band and we were playing out, it was more like kind of a chore to carry the amps in, and I just didn't enjoy it. Like when you think back
mhm.
on it, you think back, you're like, man, those are really some good times, because you're not really thinking about the sucky parts anymore. You're thinking about all the good times. So
Yeah,
I find
yeah.
that, this is we're in this wonderful time of transformation right here, and if you get kind of too caught up on all the negative stuff, you're going to like miss the party, so to speak, because there is a party
Mhm.
going on right now.
Yeah, there really is. There really is. It's part of the roller coaster ride, the ups and the downs. It's part of the ride that we agreed to get on.
Yeah.
And it's really how you face it. I'm the type who wants to go in the very front car of the roller coaster and put my hands up in the air and not hold on to anything, and just enjoy the feeling of the whole experience.
Right.
So, yeah, guaranteed there's going to be ups and downs, but I really think that if we can surrender to the experience as opposed to resistance, and always hold that knowing of direction being towards the light,
Hmm.
that we really can just sweep and slip right through these rapids of change,
Right.
and not get caught up and sucked under, or thrown against the rocks. You can really just kind of lay back, and just let the current sweep you right through quickly, and get through these sort of troubled times or rushing waters, right? These rapids,
Right.
right? There's always a way through. And it really is about practice, and it relaxing, and knowing, hey, we can do this. This is all practice, and we're getting better and better at dealing with these waves, and dealing with chaotic changes and how they present themselves. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think love. We always say love's the key, love's the answer, but I think why it is love is the real powerful thing that extends beyond our matrix.
Yes.
It's the only thing that really, stretches out beyond that. All the fearful stuff is just sort of, superficial stuff in your face, you know what I mean? But you push
Mm-hmm.
beyond that. If you tap into the anchor of love, then you're, no matter what's going on. Case from Everyday Masters put out this video where, it was I forgot that movie with Jodie Foster where she's strapped in the chair and it's shaking her, and then she finally like undid her seatbelt and
Yes.
and was just floating there, with the whole machinery and everything jolting around her. And I got that image yesterday.
Yeah.
That it flashed back to me again. And that's like, so instead of buckling up, you need to buckle up. You need to unbuckle. You know what I mean? And just sort of let
That's
this
it.
stuff float around you,
Yeah.
float in the center. And that gets back to that visualization of the that center point that we were talking about, and staying in there
That's
while
right.
everything's all chaotic and moving around you. But that's all the theater. Like
That's right.
Jim
Yeah.
Self talks, beyond the rose. It's Shakespeare's
Hmm.
theater, so to speak.
Yeah, that really is a great analogy of the movie Contact.
Contact, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, where she's in, like, they followed the schematics,
Right.
right? They were given the plans of how to build this machine, but they couldn't trust it. They had to take safety precautions. This is for your safety. No, we
Right.
have to do this for your safety,
Right, because they didn't have a
right?
chair on the plans. That's what it was.
Yeah,
They're like, we got to have a
yeah,
chair. Where is she going to sit? You know, so they put this
yeah.
chair in there, and it's just shaking her to. It's probably going to kill her if she didn't undo it. You know, she saw something
Well, and they
floating
even give
by.
her yeah, they even give her the cyanide capsule to keep with you just in case you need to kill yourself,
Right.
right? For your safety.
Right. All these
In case
things.
for your safety you need to kill yourself. So yeah, but that's it. It's that whole contraption that they placed in there because of precautions,
Right.
because of warnings,
Yeah.
because of fear, because they couldn't trust the experience, and the design of it had a greater intelligence than their own, but they still could not trust it and lay back in that. But that's it. When she removed the precautions and freed herself from the warnings, she was center balanced and floating through the experience.
That's such a beautiful metaphor too, isn't it? I mean,
It is. Same thing, yeah. It plays out in so many ways. That's when you start to decipher these stories, and you see they're all around you. They're in everything we read, and um, everything we experience, and you can really start to see the foreshadowing and really decipher how stories play out.
yeah.
Hmm.
Schmeenix, what's up,
So
buddy? So, all right. So let's see. Are you expecting anything over the next week? Are you on this 21st date? What do you think? Any predictions?
no predictions from me.
Okay, good.
No, because honestly, it's like if my mind even wants to go do that, again, it's imagination, and I don't want to limit myself to the configuration of my own personal imagination at this point. I would much rather see what God has in store for me than to try to design plans with my own imagination as to far how I will experience any changes, with whether or not I even will.
Hmm.
Um, I'm really working on emptying myself of any and all agendas that might be considered my own, and trying to make myself an empty vessel with the question of what's God's will. I want to be available for that energy
Hmm.
and that purpose, and want to open up to what that experience is. So the more I feel like I try to define it within myself to a certain picture or a certain scenario, I really don't think that serves any purpose.
Hmm.
I'd rather leave it open to fresh experience
I totally
each
agree.
day,
Because
each
even if
day.
we knew something was
So
going to
I don't
happen,
know that anything will
but
happen.
we didn't know what it was, you know, and then all of a sudden your imagination goes along with all of these different scenarios, and if they don't happen, then you've got these
Yeah,
expectations about how things should play out. So the way I look at it is we're all coming together on that day, and we're
yeah,
all going to meditate and put our positive intentions into it, and if something more happens, that's awesome, but I already know that we're going to be
yeah,
creating in that moment with our power of
yeah.
intentions. So maybe we'll have some multiplying effect from the planetary alignment. I have no idea, but
Well,
I'm excited.
I have no doubt that the energies in this conversion is a switching over, is a huge changing of tides, and we will see that play out. What, whether or not we see like an instantaneous result of that, or it's a moving into, which is really like the clockwork of what this whole dynamic is
Mhm.
with the stars. And um so who knows how quick and sudden changes may appear to us, or whether or not we'll just again we'll see the progression of events and sort of tides turning, things flipping over, power structure switching.
Mhm.
So we'll just have to wait and see.
That's interesting. Okay, A Baker's asking about synchronicities and numbers. Anybody been getting any specific numbers? Baker got 1 and 4. I got the 14th yesterday, in several different ways. It was a special day, you know. And then of course we had the solar eclipse. But
Hmm.
and then I've gotten 7 and 21. So I've gotten multiples of 7 lately.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can find that video quick to give you all a recommendation to that video that I mentioned to you, Shane.
Oh, the one with the
Um,
from after school,
yeah.
right?
So yeah, the it's on YouTube, and the channel is called After School. School spelled Skool,
Right.
and the name of the video is Hidden Mathematics. Hidden Mathematics by Randall Carlson. Ancient knowledge of space, time, and cosmic cycles. So, you guys want to talk about numbers at all? I would highly recommend you watch that.
I can't wait. I'm going to definitely check that one out.
Yeah, so I haven't even got through the whole thing yet. I'm actually, like I said to you, because it's amazing the amount of information he's put up in really simple diagrams.
Right.
You're gonna really enjoy the way it's drawn out and done. Uh, Tons of information. So I'm gonna kind of go through and screenshot a bunch of stuff on my iPad of all these different charts and numbers he's got. But he really shows you how everything's connected, especially with these numbers. So if you guys are interested in these numbers and how they all connect to each other, and he also really breaks down Metatron's cube, which is something that I've been really looking into sort of as these downloads have been progressing over the last couple of weeks. There's been a lot of questions for me and developing the concepts of Metatron's cube and what that really means to me, right? So there was a really good breakdown of all the components. Of course, he does not call it Metatron's cube, but
It's a
he does a good
dodecahedron
breakdown.
or something like that.
Yeah, he breaks down all the shapes and forms, and so I've been coming across a lot of information about this, about Metatron's cube. That's been a lot of what I've been looking into over the last couple weeks. But this video is just packed with info, guys. So if you're curious about this stuff at all, it's got a ton.
What did he just upload it, or is it an older video that you just came across?
Let's take a look here. December 8th. Yeah, so it's new.
Okay, so if you go to the After School Skool YouTube
Yeah.
channel, then you can just find the one from the 8th, and it was called
Hidden Mathematics with Randall Carlson.
Hidden Mathematics.
Ancient Knowledge of Space, Time, and Cosmic Cycles.
Okay, I can remember
Good
that.
stuff.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
like a good one.
Yeah, you'll enjoy that. So it is like 2 hours. I probably got through half of it right now. So lots of good stuff.
Let's see. That's right. We're in a planetary alignment, December 21st, which is also the beginning of the solstice or the winter solstice, the 3 days of darkness, if you will.
Mm-hmm. There's also those, I think I sent you those template videos too, Shane. Didn't I send those to you? The ones that sort of have a visual.
Right? Yeah,
I can't remember the name of it though.
I can't either.
Scroll. Mm-hmm.
But holy shift, I think is what Alan and Sandra said.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
when
it
they,
really is.
okay, so when the planets, I guess, you get that stacking effect of one energy going over the next and combining or something.
Yes. Yeah, and I really have to wonder, we had that big solar flare last week and it missed us. Like it didn't hit us directly,
Right?
but it was going straight out to hit um Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. And I do find that really interesting timing wise,
Yeah.
that much energy heading out that way. I sort of got this visual of it, kind of hitting those planets for this, before this convergence of alignment, and
Yeah.
and then this energy being blasted basically with this alignment back at reverberated back to us. I don't know. I just find it really interesting, that the timing of that, and the fact that it was heading out to hit those planets before this conjunction.
Yeah. And I think times like this, it's good to just get back to the basics and the simple fact that, if you just kind of stay in love, you don't really have to know all the details about that. If there is some kind of push or something, if you're already focusing your intentions to the love and not being in fear, because it's either love or fear, So you're either going to tap into the higher realms. And if that's where you're in when you get the push, then you get a push in that direction. So that's sort of the sort of keeping your arrow pointed in the right direction for these cosmic energetic pushes that we get.
Oh, okay, here we go. I found so if you guys want to check out it's all one word together. The template org.
Oh, that's those videos, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's all one word, the channel, the template org.
ORG.
Um, yeah, and you've got the source code, ceremony, code for. So they're videos,
Hmm.
and they've got sacred. They're full of sacred geometry, along with guided sort of meditative messages, and I find them very stimulating for downloads.
Awesome.
So you guys might enjoy that if that's your cup of tea.
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's always nice to have
Mm.
an aid if you need it, like the binaural beats and guided
Yeah,
meditations and
yeah, but these were really breaking down, like again, the Metatron's cube and the different components, and they were really using the visuals. Again, some good information to it. Uh, they had a few different videos, so
that's the
it's
one where that
stimulating for downloads. It's really stimulating for
right,
the
like
downloads,
visually too,
especially with arts.
sound and visuals, right?
Yes,
Right,
yes, that's what I liked. Usually, I just listen to the audio,
right.
with frequencies or guided meditation or hypnosis session or whatever. But I really enjoyed these as a combination of a visual imprinting of messages
Hmm.
and understandings.
Yeah,
It kind of helps code you, and I believe sort of harmonize these different aspects um, within the cube, the Metatron cube. Helps you come to an understanding and knowing within yourself.
right. So there,
Makes it easier to harmonize.
so, so while they're talking about synchronicities in the chat, I wanted to bring up all of the, besides time and repeating numbers and things like that. I've been
Hmm.
seeing a real uptick in like cross synchronization. So like I was having a conversation with one person and they said something about peace, and then someone else opened the door and was like, hey, and gave the peace sign, like, just these sort of synchronicities that, or, somebody says exactly 3 or 4 words you just said on the television right after you say them, or something like that. You know what I
Yes.
mean? These sort of
Yeah.
impossible synchronicities to ever align on purpose, but those have really been kicking up.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on,
Yeah.
but my kids, they're like have all these jaw dropping moments where they're like, trying to figure out if anyone else noticed because they're kind of like, what the heck. But it's cool. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It is. I think that you notice these things more as you tap into more and more how how this matrix does that, how it plays off these themes, and then you see them like ping pong all around you in these different ways.
It,
And it really takes noticing, having an understanding of kind of the different themes, so you can see the way that all the different ways that it can present itself. The same archetype can present itself in a multitude of ways, right?
mhm.
And when you start to decipher that, all of a sudden you start seeing these different representations of the same archetype, or configuration of a story, whatever it is, like or piece or whatever it is, and it just kind of pops up in different ways all around you. So I think the greater understanding of archetypes really helps with that.
Right.
It helps noticing that, because you can see then the different ways that it presents itself becomes more noticeable.
But for me, it's just awesome because normally I'll notice these things and no one else does. So it's nice for a change not to even have to
Mhm.
bring it up. And it's like, wow, you noticed? Yeah, I was just, So yeah,
Because it's coming so frequent. And I think that happens more and more as we harmonize
yeah,
with ourselves within this environment. Then it just becomes easier to read. It's not so chaotic, and these things happen more and more and more and more. You see the connections instead of chaos.
yeah.
Hmm.
Making a distinction too between the ego voice you have and higher, thought or whatever becomes easier to discern as well when you kind of move
Yes.
up out of the chaos. It's like less
But
less
yeah,
stuff to have to filter through. You know what I mean?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because the in when you're in chaos. I mean, the ego is really driven to maintain control,
Hmm.
because the last thing your ego wants is to not have control. I think that's the biggest fear for the ego, and what
Oh
what
yeah.
really motivates it and drives it to do the majority of what it does is because it's trying to maintain control of the situation. So, chaos is all, our ego is always going to want to come out and take control of the situation in that. So, and that's okay. Just have a conversation with yourself. You got to know the different voices and where they're coming from.
It's funny to think that one thing an ego never does is a mic drop, does it? Because it never wants to stop talking. It's never done talking. You have to snatch the mic from the ego. You have to push him out of the driver's seat,
Yes. Ego's not capable of listening.
No.
And
really. You're right. It's all about self-preservation. It's fearful about losing itself, but
or what other people think of
it,
your identity, right? It's all, you want to control what other people think of you, right? It all, that's the thing. It's taking the time to really slow down with your thoughts, and life being less chaotic, you can really slow down and ask yourself why you're motivated to do the different things that you do. And really I think that's one of the hardest things, is to never mind being honest with other people, to actually like really, really be brutally honest with yourself. Like brutally honest with yourself about what really are your motivations, for the different things that you do. That's one of the big things in all of this.
Absolutely.
So,
well, it's been wonderful, Michelle, and let's see. I'll make sure I'm
you too, bro. You can't see it, but I've got Zoe up on my lap now, so
let's see if we can see
maybe
Zoe.
We'll come back on for a second. You always know it's time when Zoe makes her appearance. Hey, Zoe.
Hey, Zoe.
You say hi to everybody. No, you just want me all to yourself.
She's so cute.
She's a mama hog. Oh, my girl.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, it was nice to catch up. Sorry we missed last week, but
keep your vibes up, you guys. It's so much happening right now, and tapping into the intuition has been better than ever for me. And I don't know if it's just disconnecting or more meditating.
Yeah. It's starting to pay off. All the work we've been doing.
Yeah.
With like I said, asking those deeper questions, spending time with yourself, meditating, really taking time with this process. We've been doing a lot of work for the last couple of years. And, I think it's really coming in to support us now. Right, Zoe? She's such a baby.
And I'm feeling amped up for the, this leg of the journey coming up. So I don't even know what it is, but I'm amped up and ready to go. And somebody's talking about cookies, and you know what? I have pecan sandy cookies. My mom loved. Her name was Sandy, so she would love those cookies, and we have some. So I'm gonna go reminisce and eat cookies now that you.
I made cookies. I made cookies last week too. Oatmeal chocolate chip. Real comfort food.
Yeah, great time to bake. Get the heater going. It's cold outside. It warms up the house. It's nice to have that oven heat coming on. Yeah,
it's Christmas time coming too. So
we got the snow. We got tons of snow here. Like the last few days. I mean, it's crazy. Just totally.
Oh really?
Yeah.
No snow. Yeah, no snow here. It comes and goes. We get a bit overnight. I'll wake up and there's some snow, and then it just melts. So, but by after Christmas, it'll. Well, who knows? It's hit or miss with Christmas here. So sometimes it's really warm, sometimes it's not. So you never know. But we got the tree up. We did some decorating.
Yeah,
that's been nice.
Yeah, I think most of us probably live somewhere where it's just you don't know what to expect. Because like even here, you might not get snow for a few years, but then like you might really get,
Yeah.
a foot dumped on you 1 year or something. A few times even.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I'm still in southern Ontario, so being close to the lake really keeps it moderate more down here. But you go a little bit up north from me, and they'll be covered in snow already. So you don't have to go too far to find the snow.
That's cool.
It's just I'm being so close to the lake, so
lucky
keeps it warm.
All right, you guys, lots of love, light, and unity. And thank you so much, Michelle, for coming on here with me. I appreciate you and Zoe for giving you up for a little bit. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Peace.
If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.